Welcome to the Q Chat, the exclusive interview series brought to you by Geaux Queen magazine, the self-love conversation with queens. Here, we shine a spotlight on the incredible journeys of inspiring women. Today, we are thrilled to be joined by the multi-talented Shamika Cotton. From captivating audiences with her breakout role in HBO's unforgettable series The Wire to delivering powerful performances in Law & Order's Criminal Intent, Elementary, and the hit Starz series Pvalley, Shamika's journey is one of dedication, resilience, and immense talent. With a career that spans film, television, and stage, Shamika has consistently proven herself as a force in the entertainment industry, captivating audiences with her dynamic range and compelling characters. Join us as we dive into Shamika's remarkable journey, discussing the triumphs and challenges of her career and the passion that fuels her artistry. Stay tuned, Queens, for an inspiring conversation with Shamika Cotton that you won't want to miss.
She's a queen about a business, working hard on a mission, and her purpose-driven crown on never tilted. Go Queen. Go Queen. Go Queen.
Thank you guys for joining another episode of the Q Chat, and I'm so excited to have a fabulous guest with me. You guys may recognize Miss Shamika from Pvalley and also from The Wire and so many other projects that she's worked on. So we're just going to chop it up about her acting experiences and, of course, my favorite topic, self-love. So I want to welcome our guest today, Miss Shamika Cotton. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing so good. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. I'm so excited to speak with you, and thank you again for giving me your time. So I wanted to dive in. Of course, I first recognized you from one of my favorite shows, and that of course is Pvalley, playing Farrah, Coach's wife. I wanted to ask you, how did you get involved in this great show, which I cannot wait to come back, and how was that experience?
Oh, well, first of all, thank you so much for watching, being a part of the Pink Posse. And thank you for saying, my name is Farrah. Okay, folks, it's Farrah. She was Coach's wife. So I love that you said that. So thank you, Queen. She got a name, folks. But I got the audition from my agent. My agents reached out and said they had this appointment for me for Pvalley. I was already a fan of the show. I've known Katori for years before before her writing career really started to grow. We were both actors here in New York City at the same agency, going out on auditions. But yeah, so I got the audition.
Awesome. And what inspired you to get into acting in the first place?
Oh my goodness. Well, I've always been creative.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in Cleveland, raised in Cincinnati. And in Cincinnati, there's this school called the School for the Creative and Performing Arts. And so I attended that school. So I've always been a creative person, one who loves to entertain, always, whether it's acting or dancing or singing or playing instruments, just creating and producing. So I started out at a performing arts school, but around about my junior year of high school, I wanted to do something different because when you go to that school, you're so engrossed in the arts. And so I wanted to do what my friends who didn't go to that school did. They had jobs on the side. They were able to do extracurricular activities that wasn't just in the theater all day and practicing. So I changed and went to a different school, Withrow High School, and that's where I graduated from. And when I got there, I realized that I was really good in math and science. And so I diverged and ended up going to college for engineering. But again, by the end of that, I was like, I want to get back to the arts. And so I moved to New York and said, you know what, I'm going to go back to acting, to being a creative. I'm going to try it out. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to go back to engineering. But that was many, many years ago. And I've been doing this for about 25 years now.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Who are some of the actresses that you look up to, and who are some of the people? I like to say that it's good to have like mentors in your mind, even if you've never met them, just people you can look up to as like your blueprint. Who are some of the actors or actresses that you grew up at and you aspired to be and that inspire you right now?
Oh, well, that's an interesting question. I think when I when I was younger, before I was actually doing it professionally, I would look at people like Tisha Campbell. Right. I used to love this show called Rags to Riches. That probably dates me, but I don't care. But I used to, okay. Do you remember that show?
I do.
Oh my gosh. I will look up to people like her. And who else? At that time, Tangi Miller was doing a lot. I remember when I was in college, Felicity was actually on TV. And I was like, her, and people would always say that I reminded them of her, and she was someone who I could see that looked like me on TV and gave me this inkling that maybe I could do it. And then, of course, the usual suspects, Kerry Washington, who is phenomenal. But then once I got into the industry and started working, I just meet so many other talented artists that I get to work with. And it would be really hard to start naming people now because now they're like my colleagues and friends. But when I was younger coming up, those were like the people that I looked at as like, I want to hang out with them and I want to do what they're doing. But when I was younger, there wasn't very many, though. It wasn't very many that we saw on TV and in film. Representation wasn't what it is today. And it's really kind of hard to kind of wrap your mind around that now because we see us a lot now, especially with the advent of the internet and social media. But coming up, there wasn't very many people out there that looked like us, brown girls,
Yeah, I think you hit a lot of points, especially seeing like brown girl representation. Let's just be honest. That's something that even now, I think we still gravitate towards that. Whenever we see a brown skinned actress that's doing her thing, I just think most women of color, we get extra excited, and it's not taken away from anything, but it's because we still crave to see us on film, whether it's on television and movies. We just still have a desire to see it. And as much as there are platforms, of course, like Pvalley and all the other different shows that represent us, it still isn't enough. Like we still need more. And especially women like Katori who have these platforms, we definitely need more of that. We need more Katoris, more Quintas, more Issa. So when we see these women, especially women of color, brown skinned women, and these brown skinned women who are also creating platforms that show us, you just get really excited. So like, I definitely understand where you're coming from. And I know you also mentioned how you went to the performing arts school. Do you recommend people who are joining the acting world? Because of course we live in an internet world where a lot of people are creating their own platforms. Do you think it's important to have that acting background to get some professional training?
I think training is important. I have such a respect for the craft, for what I do, because I know what it calls me to be able to do, to have the impact that my characters have and that my work has, and for me to be able to express myself as an actor in different ways. There's a training to it, right? It's an absolute craft. Now though, how you go about exercising and learning the craft, many ways to do that. I think if you can find schools and just community, being around a bunch of other people who are serious about the art like you and who are committed to learning. And so, yes, if you can go to a school, great. If you can find a community center where they're having classes and you can get up and practice, because you have to practice. I like to consider it's a practice, just like anything else, right? When the camera's rolling, we're seeing what you practice, but it's a practice. So you've got to get out there, you've got to get into a class and have an opportunity to try things and to see what works and to see what doesn't work, to see things that may stretch you as an artist. So I think definitely getting into some classes, or how about you create the opportunity for you to practice? right? You get in front of a camera, so you'll get me on my soapbox when you start me talking about practicing the craft of acting. I could go on forever about that, but yeah, I think taking classes is great. Finding a community of other actors to work with and other artists, writers, is important. But there are a lot of other ways to practice the craft, but take it seriously.
Definitely.
Fly, we fly, we fly, we fly so high. We fly, baby, we fly, we fly, we fly, we fly, we fly.
We're excited to share a special announcement with our Geaux Queen community. Introducing The Go-To, a new podcast dedicated to trauma healing and personal growth. Join us as we explore vital topics, prioritizing mental health and finding freedom from trauma. The Go-To is your safe space for healing, empowerment, and growth. We'll bring you heartfelt stories, insights, and practical advice to help you navigate your journey to freedom and self-love. Stay tuned for more updates and be ready to join us on this transformative journey. Healing starts here now. So I want to go back and ask you, of course, Pvalley, just one more question about Pvalley, because I definitely love that show. And speaking of a platform that definitely highlights women of color and brown skin, the beauty of it, can we expect to see Farrah back making any appearances with Mercedes in the upcoming season? And also, what were some of your favorite highlights on working on that show? Because it's so popular right now, and everyone is craving for that season 3. So, so tell us, what were some of your favorite highlight moments, and can we expect to see you back?
Well, no one's able to talk about what's happening in season 3, so I can't even answer anything like that. But thanks, good try, Rhonda. Everybody asked, but everybody's just gonna have to stay tuned and just trust that the writers and creators and Katori and Patrick over there, they got something good cooking up for you. So just sit tight. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. So working on the show, I mean, it was an absolute dream. It's an absolute dream. I don't know if people realize that the directors are, I think they're all women. It's always women. Mm-hmm. So having that experience, to be able to be supported and to be in such a safe environment and to be celebrated on a show where everybody respects what everybody is doing. It was a very special time to be to be able to collaborate with other artists at such a high degree and a high level of storytelling that was so authentic and real. And that's one of the things about Pvalley, the writing is so rich. You have this kind of two things happening. You have the realness in how we talk as a people, which makes the dialogue so easy to kind of to get into your instrument. But then there's a poetry of it. They've managed to capture the poetry of how we speak and the poetry of how we express. And so it's such a special show to be a part of. Of course, getting a chance to work with my soror, Brandy, was amazing. And just everybody there, from hair, makeup to wardrobe, it was a charm time.
Oh yeah, and I love Brandy. She's so beautiful, and I'm happy
inside and out.
She's gorgeous. And I'm so happy you also mentioned Patrick Ian Polk, because I'm a Noah's Ark old school.
Yes.
So I love that show. So I just, it's just great. That's another thing that's cool about that show, because it's bringing all these new faces, but it also has, for people who are familiar with that show, people like that. It is very exciting. Are there any challenges, which I'm sure, I would think so, any challenges that you faced in your acting career so far, and how were you able to overcome those and work through them?
Challenges. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like separating acting career challenges and regular life challenges. You know, I think, let me think on that before I answer. I think the challenge is staying focused on your vision, your dream, right? Because the way that we get to where we see ourselves, or or what calls us to our dream, no matter what it is, whether you want to be an actor or a writer or a singer, performer, and an athlete or a professional entrepreneur or whatever, we all have this vision, right? This thing that calls us. We all have something, and I think the challenge is figuring out who do I need to become in order to get to that place that I see in my mind. And then putting those things in place so that you're supported and you're laying the foundation to get to where you want to go. And so that's why I say it's kind of hard to kind of like separate that, acting and personal. I think it's everything is so connected, right? And so yeah, it's knowing where you want to go and figuring out what you need to do to support yourself so you can stay moving forward, you know what I mean, and not get distracted. And how do you deal with obstacles when things don't go the way you expect them to go? These are just regular, things that happen no matter what you do. So how do I deal with that? Of course, self-care. You have to take care of yourself. Right. And there are so many ways to do that. That's kind of why I started my Saturday morning tap in, was making sure that I had this place that I show up to consistently and make room for something good in my life. So it's about creating those moments in your lives and those practices where you take care of yourself.
Speaking of, and I definitely wanted to touch on the Saturday morning tap-ins, which I think is awesome, to connect with people, because we need that. A lot of us, some of us everyone has things that they're wrestling with, whether we want to act like we're perfect, hey, it is what it is, but everyone has something internally that they're dealing with. Everyone has a cross to bear, whether it's big or small. And I think it's good when we continue to have different platforms and people can just be free. And it's also helpful, I think since COVID, like a lot of high profile people were doing, Instagram lives, things like that, because we all were in the same boat together. It didn't matter what your status was, what you did. Everyone was in this together. So I think there was a lot of connection. And I think it's great that a lot of people have continued that now. So it's special to have that. So how does it feel to have those Saturday morning tap-ins? I know it probably means a lot. I got a chance to watch some of them, and I know the last one was even about the eclipse and everything, and what did people do during that time, whether they took time to meditate and connect. So again, how important is it for you to have those tap-ins? Because I know obviously you're not only just giving to your viewers, but it's also doing something for you. So how important is it?
Yeah, for me, and I mention this, every now and then on the tap-ins, is that the first thing is that I'm challenging myself to consistently show up as my highest self, to consistently offer something. Like, what are we giving? What is your offering to the world, and what is the space that you're holding? So it's allowing me to grow in that area, right? And I think that that's an area that a lot of people, that resonates with a lot of people, being able to show up consistently in a way where you're offering something and receiving something positive. So yeah, and it's also important because, like you said, nobody has it all figured out. And I'm always thanking people that tune in for showing up, because I really feel like them showing up allows me to show up. It's like they called me to create the show that created me, that called me to show up in this kind of outside of time connection. So it's really something that's for both of us and not just for me. And a lot of times I get from them, and a lot of times they'll send me messages that happen to be right on the time when I need to hear something that reminds me, like, okay, yes, everything is working out, just having this sense of community and to know that we are all so connected. And a community has always been very, very important to me.
Yes. One other thing with Go Queen, not only do we try to highlight women of color, but we also love to promote self-love. Self-love really is the fuel that gives us the confidence to just be yourself no matter what. And also, as you mentioned, be consistent. Consistency is extremely important no matter what your goal is to be consistent and to still show up, even during the ups and downs, the rejections, the acceptance, to still just show up and be consistent. You have to have a level of self-love to say, hey, I'm worthy, I'm valuable, I'm still going to show up even if I don't feel like doing this today, or even if I have a doubt in my mind, like, is this really going to happen? You have to have that self-love to barrel back to what is the real goal, what is the thing that's really pushing me. So I would like to ask you, how do you define self-love and what role has it played in your life?
Self-love, how would I define self-love? Um, Self-love is taking care of my mind, first of all, because I think everything that we experience is a result of what's going on in our mind. That the external world is an expression of what's going on. So always making sure that I'm feeling good, right? A lot of times we say, what are you thinking about? But then also, how are you feeling? Checking in. How do you feel today? What did you eat? Did what you eat make you not feel good today? Did you not go outside and get some fresh air or exercise? Really making sure and being in tune with how I am feeling. Because if you're not feeling good, it's going to cause you to ask, then what am I thinking about? And those two things are so inextricably connected, our thoughts and our feelings. Like, that is our consciousness. That the external world is an expression of what's going on. So always making sure that I'm feeling good, right? A lot of times we say, what are you thinking about? But then also, how are you feeling? Checking in. How do you feel today? What did you eat? Did what you eat make you not feel good today? Did you not go outside and get some fresh air or exercise? Really making sure and being in tune with how I am feeling. Because if you're not feeling good, it's going to cause you to ask, then what am I thinking about? And those two things are so inextricably connected, our thoughts and our feelings. Like, that is our consciousness, and that's how we experience the world and we express. So self-care is about making sure that I'm feeling good and thinking good.
Awesome. And one thing I also noticed too, just looking at your history and your journey, your role from The Wire, of course, is totally different from playing Farrah. So
Yeah.
you obviously have displayed some range for sure. And The Wire is still such an iconic show. It's been so long since that show has been on, but people talk about it to this day, how it's one of the best, shows that HBO has had. How was it being on something that is so historic? And do you also have any notable memories from that experience as well? And do you still get recognized from that show?
Yeah, every now and then. Yes, when I get recognized, I'm like, man, because I don't have makeup on today. Am I looking that bad? That's why, that's who I am. No, I always joke with that. But no, people do still recognize Raylene. But, it's so funny because I was just grateful to have a job. Can we just be real clear about that? I was just happy to have a job. I didn't realize that, oh my gosh, this show is making history. Television history has been one of the best shows ever to be on TV. I was just happy to be a part of a show that, once again, had this rich authenticity to it that was telling stories of people of color, getting into our communities and seeing, what's going on, even with the education system, what's going on with our children and things like that, and what's going on in our communities. So I was just happy to be able to tell a story that resonated with me at the time. I think it'd be hard to find someone who hasn't experienced a family member or friend who has had some type of struggle with addiction, like Raylene from The Wire. And so it was a wonderful time of being able to stretch as an actor to play that physical condition, but also to give her a heart and to get to know what she wanted, wanting her kids to be proud of her. But unfortunately, she was sick, and understanding the world that she lived in. So that was really amazing to be given that opportunity to stretch. I remember when I first got it, I was like, oh, this is going to be my Halle Berry moment, right? I was like, yes, so I was really grateful to be able to play a character that was so different from me, because a lot of times when you first come into the industry, it's like you're going to have to play characters that are very close to you before you're giving the chance to actually show your range. So I was very grateful for that. Jim McKay, I definitely remember my audition. Going to Baltimore, going to Pat Moran's office, and really fully being engrossed in the mindset of the character, and going into that room in the casting office and doing that. My one line, I think at the time, was, "Y'all learned something today." But really giving it a full life and seeing Jim's reaction, and then being on set and walking with him down the street and him saying, there's a possibility that we may have this character back. Because I didn't know that she was going to come back. Yeah. Right. But he was like, so what do you think about that? And I'm, trying to control myself and not get too excited. But I was like, yeah, that would be great. But on the inside, like, that would be awesome. But trying to play it off. And then working with Wendell Pierce, and so many other, Tristan, when Tristan was just a little, now he's Mac Wilds. Okay. He's a grown man, family. All right. Working with him and I would say all the kids, but they're all now grown now. And that was such a wonderful time hanging out and laughing with them, and just like seeing them curse, like being on the street. Because at the time they're little kids and they're saying all these words and cursing and stuff like that. So it was just really, really special.
Wow. And that really was an iconic show. And it's just something else how certain shows are just cemented in time. Like we can sit back and binge it now, and it still has that same freshness, the same appeal. It's really something else. So it's great that you were a part of something like that. So speaking of television, what is on your playlist? What shows do you tune in now if you have time to watch television? What are some of the shows that you are just must-see TV for Shamika?
I'm always watching something. I'm always like binging a show. Okay. So BMF, hello. I am all over BMF. Okay. I've watched Raising Kenan. I've watched, what else? What else have I watched? I watched all of the first Book of Power. I'm caught up on, what was the other one for the son? What's his book called?
It's Power Book 2 Ghost.
I get the names mixed up, but just know, yes. So I'm really loving the Power universe. I heard that. Did you also hear that this is it for Power?
Yeah, it's supposed to be the last season coming up.
You know what? But good for them. They put so many wonderful stories out there. That was some good. Courtney Kemp. Yeah. Did that, sis. Okay. Mm-hmm. Brought some really great stories. So loving Starz. Yeah. I love Starz. But also I've started watching Orphan Black.
Okay.
I know I'm late. That show is, it's old now, but I was like, I want to watch something. And the girl who plays the main character on there that plays all the different clones, amazing. Of course, I love things that are kind of like speculative fiction, sci-fi. Looking forward to do more stuff like that. Shows like The Handmaid's Tale. When are they coming back? I love those things. I'm a fan of the Walking Dead universe, that whole franchise. But yeah, those are some of the shows that I'm watching right now.
I can recommend a show for you. I like this show called The Hour from Detroit. It's on BET right now.
I need to watch that. I've been seeing all the clips from that show, and she seems like my kind of girl.
Yeah, I love it because it's quirky and it's just cool to see. Like, she's like a PI, like, she's a teacher, but she's trying to solve this crime. So it's really fresh. Like, it's different. I don't think we've seen anything like that on TV in a while, if ever, but I really like the whole sleuth thing that she's doing. Yeah. I hope there's more seasons of it. Like, it's really different. So, like, I definitely recommend that too, because I love TV as well.
It's definitely a show that I would love, a kind of show that I would like to work on. Like, I love doing the serious characters and stuff, the sexy characters, but I am trained in comedy as well. I went to Upright Citizens Brigade and did all of their classes. I've done improv around New York. So I'm really looking forward to being able to do more comedy, more quirky stuff. There's this really great show on right now called Elsbeth. Do you know about that show with Terry Preston?
Yeah.
Like, let me be the Black Elsbeth, you know what I mean? Let the Black girl have more quirky. This is the time for more quirky Black girls, and I'm here for that.
Yeah. I love it. I just ironically started watching Elsbeth the other day, so I got like 3 episodes in. So, and Wendell Pierce is from Louisiana, and also 50 Cent just opened a new G-Unit studio in Shreveport, Louisiana. So I'm like, wait a minute, so that's interesting. So I also want to ask you, before we start wrapping things up, what advice do you have for any upcoming actors or actresses just to stay motivated, and just how can they hone their craft, and just how can they be authentic too? Because I'm sure there's a lot of situations where sometimes people may be struggling on being themselves, trying to enter this new acting world. So what advice would you have for some up and coming actors and actresses?
That's such it's a great question. So many things that I can say but I have to watch myself that I don't go on a soapbox about acting.
Yeah.
You know what I will say, because of my internship program. Did you know about the internship program I created?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh, great. We'll talk about that. So in 2022, I launched my own company. And I will say that from playing Farrah in Pvalley, that is something that Farrah deposited within me, was this thing to branch out and to be a boss, to own my artistry, to own my entrepreneurship. And I was like, you know what? Okay. So I launched my company. It's called 1010 Talent and Creative Services. And it's where I share my gift of storytelling across all kinds of different mediums, whether it's TV, film, theater, whether I'm designing for a client, all kinds of ways. And so, but in my company, I also started a year later an internship program called T3IP. And so that's short for the 1010 Talent Internship Program. And we just finished our first cohort, which was 3 cycles that we did in 2023, where I was giving access, exposure, and mentorship to people who want to work in the entertainment industry. So, and the program is still going on. We're in the second cohort now, which is the second year. And so people who want to work in the entertainment industry, whether you're a writer or an actor, or whether you want to work behind the scenes as a cinematographer or lighting, sound, marketing, there's so many different jobs that are connected to the entertainment industry, so many ways for creatives to work. And the thing that I tell my interns and my mentees is, don't wait, create. Quit waiting for someone to give you permission. There is absolutely no excuse for you not to be doing the thing that you want to do. There is none. There is absolutely none. There's this story about fleas in a jar. Have you ever heard the story about a jar with a bunch of fleas in it?
Oh, and about them bouncing to the top.
Right. So there's a lid
Oh,
on the jar, right? And the fleas, once they jump and hit their head against the lid, they won't jump as high. But as when you take the lid off, the fleas will not jump out because they're so accustomed to the lid being there. So they will only jump so high. But you introduce a flea into that jar that doesn't have that boundary and they jump out, then all the other fleas like, oh, wait a minute, I can jump that high and get out. And so that is what I'm seeing right now. All of those gates and gatekeepers, they're not there anymore. The old paradigm is crumbling down, right? Where we have to go and ask for permission to be seen. You can be seen, right? Issa Rae, right, showed us that, right, with YouTube. And how she created her entertainment empire, and so many more people. Daria, who created that show?
Daria Kilpatrick, and I may be pronouncing her first name.
Yeah. So, but many people are not waiting for permission, right? You want to see yourself in a particular role, then write it, do it. Quit saying you're waiting for someone to give you a job. Even my actor friends right now who are like, oh my gosh, it's so slow, or oh, it's not any auditions. Why are you sitting here waiting for someone to give you a job? Go create the work. You have all these platforms to share your artistry. And so that's why I made sure that the interns last cohort, we did a whole showcase where I said, okay, you want to be a filmmaker, you want to be a screenwriter, you're an actor. Here is a seed. Here's a poem. Write a whole story around that poem and then go film it. But here's the catch. You got to film it on your cell phone and use free editing software so I can prove my point that there's nothing stopping you. So that is my advice to any artist, to anybody, right? We don't have to wait for permission to do that thing that we were brought on this earth to do, right? If you have a business idea, do it. But you got to have the self-care element, right? You got to take care of yourself so that you can run your business, so you can do the acting work. You know what I mean? You got to take care of yourself so that you can show up consistently good. You got to have the discipline. You got to have the habits. So, and that's another thing about being an artist. Or people who want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to work for nobody. I want to work for myself. Well, you better be prepared to work really hard. And you know this amazing platform that you created. You have to do the work even when you don't feel like it, or else you have nothing. You have to be disciplined. You can't be this artist that's willy-nilly out there, or else you won't have nothing to show for it. But don't get me started. But yes, that's my advice. Don't wait, create, get together with like-minded people. You don't have to network, vertically. Network, across. Who else is there in your environment? Who else is there at your level? And come together and create your own buzz. So many things. But that's why I created my internship program. One, because I wanted to give access, exposure, and mentorship. But also, guess what? I created my own table. Right? I created a table where I said, here, let me share my experiences and what I've learned. And now we have a wonderful creative community. And now we're creating more work. And now we're bringing in more interns who also want to learn and collaborate, but who are serious. Don't come here playing. We're serious. We work hard, but we love what we do.
Awesome. That was amazing. That was a word, and I love it. I love it. And Issa Rae, I know I mentioned her a lot. Like, she's the mentor in my mind, but she has this video that went viral when she was like, work across. So
yes.
You're completely right. And also, like you said, build your own table. Like, there's no reason to wait for anybody to hand anything to you. You have to start building, like, right now. Like, we don't have that much time on this earth to wait for somebody else to give you anything. The world is too overpopulated to wait for someone to give us anything. The whole thought of it is insane. Like, why are you waiting? Like, when you can build right now, like you said, build with your iPhone, build with anything. Just go ahead and build it right now. Like, there's nothing stopping you, really. Like, there's literally nothing that can stop us, honestly, but the person that we look across in the mirror. That's the only person in our mindset, You know, there's nothing that can stop us. And I love what you said, and I really hope that message resonates with someone. It doesn't matter what that goal is you have. Start building right now. And again, network across. You don't have to be as high as you think you are. You're already there. You know what I'm saying? Make your own spotlight, make your own red carpet. Like, you are that star in your own mind. Like, you can do whatever you put your mind to. So I love everything that you said, and it's nothing but inspiration. I have truly, truly enjoyed this conversation. It has been an amazing experience. Before we end everything, please tell everybody what's next. What can we see you next? Is there anything you can share with us? You know, I wish I could squeeze your arm and get some more information about Pvalley. But other than that, like, what can we expect to see you on next? What are your future goals?
Yes, well, I have a film that's going to be coming out. I think it's going to Tubi. It's called Game Night. It is an amazing indie film. It is written by Craig Williams, directed by Tanya Pinkins. We've got some amazing actors in it: Lisa Arundel, Jamie Lincoln Smith, Crystal. Oh, I can't get Crystal's last name. Crystal, please don't kill me. But it's a really great, fun, sexy, suspenseful film about this group of friends who get together and they find out the games that have been played in their friendship. Like, there's some secrets that happen, and it all comes to a head on game night. So yeah, like I said, it's sexy, it's suspenseful, it's got a little it's got horror in it as well. It's definitely a Tanya Pinkins kind of film. But yeah, another thing that we shot last year, and it just had a wonderful screening at the Pan-African Film Festival, very well received. But guess what? I was speaking to Tanya and I'm like, so what's the next festival? And she's like, no more festivals. It's going to get distribution so we can just start making money on it. And that's the thing. The model has changed. The model, and people, I'm telling you, y'all can keep trying to hold on to these old paradigms, but and this is my thing. Some people will poo-poo on Tubi, but that's jokes on you. They're paying artists for their work. They're giving people a platform to share their artistry. One of my interns, I'm going to pub her up because I coached her on this film. And I actually, because of my mentorship program, she now has a film that's coming out on Tubi called Boundaries. She came into the program and long story short, God put her in my father's cab. And she was like, yeah, I want to be an actor. My dad's like, well, you know, my daughter's an actor. And she's like, well, you think she'll mentor me? And my dad was like, you know, as a matter of fact, she just started an internship program. So she gets in the program, doesn't know anything about the acting industry and how to make films. But she says, you know what? I want to be of service. I interview her. She comes in the program. I mentor her. I have her come be my assistant on game night. And she ends up getting all this information, and she goes and co-produces a whole feature film, stars in it, and just had the premiere in Cincinnati a couple weeks ago. And it's already bought on Tubi, and she's already casting for her second film. What are y'all waiting for? What are we waiting for? Make the art and get it out there. So game night is something that I'm in, that I star in, but then also Boundaries, my amazing intern and mentee Unique is in Boundaries. So it's going on Tubi. So I'm looking forward to seeing. I want to start actually doing some more producing and helping other stories, you know, get out there. So I'm always reading scripts. If people have projects where they're like, would you be in my project? You never know. Send me your script. If it's good, we can talk about getting it produced and getting it done. But yeah, let's just make some art. But yeah, game night.
Awesome. And I'm so happy you mentioned Tubi, because it goes back to what you were saying about create your own. And I know some people, they like to find something negative, but it's a whole group of people who are, like you said, they get in those cameras. It doesn't have to, you don't have to have all these elaborate things. Just go ahead and create it. You know, and that's one of my dreams. I would love to have a Tubi movie. I could care less, you know, what people think, like, oh, Tubi movies. I think it's great people are writing, the people that you may not see on Starz, that you may not see on HBO, that you may not see on Lifetime. That's the beauty of it, because there's
Mhm.
another avenue. There's always an avenue. I feel like if you really work hard and you look for it, and like you said, create your own.
Yeah.
People are making and producing their movies. They're getting together with their friends, funding these movies and making them, and they're making it happen. So it's a beautiful thing, especially for people of color, that we can continue to make our own lane no matter what. Like, we don't have to have anybody shut a door on us or say we're not good enough or say that we can't be casted in these
Mhm.
elaborate films. It's like, okay, cool. Well, I'll just make my own and show you better than I
Right.
can tell you. So I think it's a great thing. I love it.
Mhm. And there's an audience for it. And, I forget the name of the man that, when I was at Pan African Film Festival, there was a panel, and he talked about how if you don't like something you see, guess what you have the option to do? Then don't say nothing about it. It wasn't for you. Like, but that's also this, it's an inner mindset thing where you feel like you have to bash someone else's art. And I will say that's a sign that you're not well. Like, when you don't have the ability to focus on positive things, because that really means that you're also really nitpicking yourself, if you really look into it. But yeah, everything is not for everybody. People will be like, well, who are some actors that you don't like, or things that you don't like? I mean, if the story's not for me, it's not for me, but it is for somebody. You know what I mean? Oh, so and so's acting on this show is horrible, but they're on the show though, and they're getting paid for it. So I don't understand. It's you, it's not them, right? So celebrate, what you love, and if you don't like it, then don't say nothing. It wasn't for you. It was for somebody else.
Right, exactly. It's someone else's dream. It may not be yours, but it's that person's dream, and they're making it
Mhm.
happen while you're criticizing. So,
Hello,
and I think
hello.
that's just one thing that we just need to work on, just always trying to find something wrong with something instead of celebrating it. Or again, like you said, it goes back to what everyone's mother said: if you can't find anything nice to say, just don't say anything. Then, if it hurts you that much that you have to find something wrong with it, just don't say anything. So I definitely agree with that. And I could go on and on and on, but like, I love talking with you. Like, this has been a great conversation, and I appreciate just you pouring into this conversation. I know it's going to really inspire creatives, because there's so many creatives right now that have those dreams, and some of them, they're making moves to make it happen, but there's some that have like these great ideas, but they may not have the confidence right now. They just may think, oh, well, nobody's going to watch what I have, or no one's going to listen. So I'm so happy that you poured into this conversation, because I know it's going to motivate somebody that's going to tune in for sure. So I definitely appreciate your time. And before we end everything, tell everybody how they can find you, how they can learn more about your internship, and also how they can find you on social media as well.
Yes, 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 yes. So you can find me on Instagram at Shamika Chronicles. I'm also on youtube.com/Shamika Chronicles, and on Facebook at Shamika Chronicles. Okay. One thing she gonna do is do consistent branding. Okay. But if you follow me on Instagram. But for my company though, my company is at 1010 Talent ACS. But if you go to Shamika Chronicles, it'll take you there. But if you're interested in being a part of this, the T3IP program, it is a remote hybrid internship. None of my interns were in New York. Just let that resonate. Nobody was in New York. Unique flew in to work on the film, but everybody else, the films that we collaborated on, some were in Florida, some were in Atlanta, some were in Ohio. So I figured out a way for us to work together remotely. So just go to Shamika Chronicles on Instagram. You can DM me, or if you're interested about the internship program, you can email info@1010talentacs.com. Let me know you're interested in the program, and I'll send you more information, and we can get started that way. And also for the rest of this year, oh God, I have committed to doing Saturday morning tap-ins, and that's 9 a.m. Eastern time on all the platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We come together, we set some intentions, and we journal, because journaling is a really huge part of my self-care. So you can find me every Saturday for the rest of this year, unless I'm shooting or doing something at that time. But we tap in All right. So that's where you can find me.
Awesome. I'll definitely have to join those tap ins. And like I said, again, thank you so much for giving us your time. I really appreciate it. And I'll definitely be looking out for everything you have going on in the future. And I know I'll see you in Pvalley. I'm claiming it. So I will be tuning in. And I can't wait for that show to come back. And thank you again. And for everyone, like I said, that had the awesome pleasure of tuning into this great episode, remember, just hold on to your dreams. And there is nobody stopping you. You just got to have that mindset. You got to be motivated. Again, there's nobody that can stop you. You have to have the right mindset. And if you don't find the lane that you want to be in, just create it. There's nothing stopping you. There's so many different platforms that we may be sleeping on right now. But create. Just don't let anything stop you. So thank you guys again for joining this wonderful episode of the Q Chat. Make sure you tune in and you can catch this episode and so many more. www.GeauxQueen.com and go ahead and check out some of our magazines, please. And thank you guys again. And make sure you go love yourself.
She's a queen about a business.